Netflix is worth $400 billion today. Back in 2000, Blockbuster could have bought the whole thing for $50 million. They passed, laughed it off even. That $50 million would have turned into 8,000 times what Netflix was asking for. But here's the thing. That's not even the craziest part of this story. Everyone thinks they know how this went down. Blockbuster got arrogant, ignored Netflix, paid the price, clean narrative, makes perfect sense. Except that's not what actually happened. Blockbuster was beating Netflix, like genuinely winning. In 2007, Netflix lost subscribers for the first time in company history, and they lost them to Blockbuster, the same company everyone writes off as a dinosaur that couldn't adapt. They'd figured it out. They were pulling ahead. Then their own board destroyed everything. One billionaire looked at the balance sheet, decided the online division was burning too much money, and killed the exact strategy that was working. 3 years later, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. So how does that happen? How do you claw your way back into a fight you were losing, start winning, and then just quit? Let's rewind. 1985, Dallas, Texas. David Cook opens a video rental store. Back then, your average video shop was kind of a mess. Dark, cramped, maybe a couple hundred tapes gathering dust. Cook thought he could do better. So he went big. 8,000 tapes on opening day. Bright fluorescent lighting everywhere. Computerized inventory so customers could actually find what they wanted. Clean aisles. The place felt like somewhere you'd bring your family. People showed up immediately. Within a few years, it spread like wildfire. New ownership stepped in, started opening locations across the country. By 1993, they had over 3,000 stores spread across the country. A year later, Viacom came in and bought the whole thing for $8.4 billion. And by 2004, this thing hit its absolute ceiling. 9,094 stores worldwide, 84,300 people on payroll, pulling in $5.9 billion a year. Friday night became this whole American ritual. Pile the family into the minivan, drive to Blockbuster, spend 45 minutes walking the aisles debating what to rent. Dad wants action. Mom wants drama. Kids are lobbying hard for talking animals. Eventually, you'd compromise on something nobody was thrilled about. Grab overpriced candy at checkout, head home. Make it a Blockbuster night. Remember? And if you ever walked into one of those stores, you know about the smell. That weird mix of plastic cases that had been sitting there for years, carpet cleaner, microwave popcorn from the front counter. Wasn't good. Wasn't terrible either. It was just Blockbuster. You'd walk in and instantly know where you were. But nobody mentions this part when they get nostalgic. Behind those Friday night family trips, Blockbuster was running a business model built on, well, let's call it what it was, screwing people over. Late fees. In 2000, Blockbuster made $800 million just from late fees. Not total revenue, just the penalty charges. 16% of everything they earned came from punishing people for returning movies late. Think about that. They could have bought Netflix 16 times over with just their annual late fee money. And Blockbuster got addicted to it. That revenue was easy, predictable, didn't require new stores or marketing campaigns. People kept forgetting to return tapes, and the money kept flowing. Why mess with a good thing? Did customers like paying these fees? Come on. Everyone hated it. Rent a movie for $3, forget about it for a week, suddenly owe $15. Felt like highway robbery. Blockbuster knew this. They had an internal term for their customer strategy, managed dissatisfaction. That's real. That's what they called it. The goal wasn't making people happy. It was keeping them just annoyed enough to complain, but not so furious they'd leave forever. That was the bar they were aiming for, and somehow they thought that was fine. That's not strategy. That's the corporate version of a toxic relationship. Around this time, over in California, some guy rents Apollo 13 from his local video store, returns it late, gets slapped with a $40 fee, at least that's the story. And this guy, Reed Hastings, stands there staring at that receipt thinking, this is insane. What if you could rent movies without all this late fee nonsense? That's where Netflix came from. Built specifically to fix the one thing Blockbuster refused to change. Fall 2000. Netflix is struggling. The dot-com bubble just burst, investors are panicking, and Reed Hastings and co-founder Mark Randolph are hemorrhaging cash trying to keep their DVD-by-mail idea alive. They need help, so they fly to Dallas to pitch Blockbuster on an acquisition. According to Randolph's book, they arrive at Blockbuster headquarters, this massive downtown tower, and get escorted to a 23rd floor conference room. In walks John Antioco, the CEO. Expensive suit. Italian loafers probably worth more than Randolph's car. Totally relaxed, totally confident. The Netflix guys? Shorts, t-shirts, flip-flops? That's how they rolled. Hastings delivers his pitch. We should partner up. Blockbuster takes physical retail, Netflix handles online. Together we dominate. The future's coming. We can own it. Antioco listens, nods, asks smart questions. Then the money comes up. What are you looking for? $50 million. Randolph wrote about this moment later. He was watching Antioco the whole time. He was doing everything right, leaning forward, eye contact, nodding at the right moments. But when that number came out, I saw something shift. Just this tiny thing, a slight turn at the corner of his mouth. Involuntary. Gone almost instantly. But I knew exactly what it was. John Antioco was trying not to laugh. After that, the meeting basically died. Antioco told them the internet hype was overblown. The dot-com hysteria is completely out of control, he said. Didn't see why Blockbuster would need Netflix. On the flight home, the three Netflix founders sit in silence. Finally, Randolph grabs an empty champagne glass and raises it. Well, we're screwed. Pause. Blockbuster doesn't want us. So I guess there's only one thing left. We've got to kick their ass. This is where most people skip ahead. The standard version goes, Blockbuster laughed at Netflix. Netflix won. The end. Simple. But there's a whole middle chapter that changes everything, because Blockbuster did wake up. Took them a while, but they realized they were in trouble and actually did something about it. The new strategy was aggressive. First move? Kill the late fees completely. Walk away from $800 million in guaranteed annual revenue. Customers loved it. Finally, Blockbuster got it. Second move, launch Blockbuster online. Same concept as Netflix. Pick movies on a website, DVDs arrive by mail, flat monthly fee, no penalties. But the third move, this was brilliant. They called it Total Access. Launched in 2006. Here's how it worked. Sign up online, pick your movies, they mail you DVDs just like Netflix. But when you're done, don't mail them back. Take them to your local Blockbuster, hand them across the counter, and instantly get a free rental to take home. No waiting for mail. Instant gratification. Netflix couldn't copy this. They had no stores. Blockbuster had 9,000. For the first time in years, those physical locations weren't a burden. They were a competitive advantage. And it worked. First quarter, 2007. Netflix loses subscribers, first time ever. 55,000 cancellations, many going straight to Blockbuster. This was huge. Netflix had grown every single quarter since launch. Every quarter. This wasn't a slowdown. This was the first crack ever. And Blockbuster created it. Blockbuster Online jumped from 2.2 million subscribers at the end of 2006 to 3 million by March, growing 25% faster than Netflix. Reed Hastings, the guy who got laughed out of that Dallas conference room, later admitted, "That was probably our scariest moment as a company." Blockbuster wasn't just competing. They were winning. Then one man destroyed it all, Carl Icahn. He's what's called an activist investor, buys massive stakes in companies he thinks are mismanaged, gets a board seat, pressures leadership to make changes, usually the kind that spike the stock price short-term so he can sell and move on. Icahn bought into Blockbuster and hated what he saw. Total Access was losing money. Eliminating late fees cost around $200 million. Building the online platform cost another $200 million. The quarterly numbers looked ugly. Was the strategy working? Yes. Were they beating Netflix? Also, yes. But Icahn didn't care. He cared about the next earnings report. He cared about the stock price this quarter, not 3 years out. His position. This is insane. We're burning cash. I don't care if it's working. I need profits now, not later. Now. Antioco fought back. Told the board, "Give me runway, we're winning. 3 more years and Netflix is finished." Econ wasn't interested in 3 years. In 2007, things exploded. Fight over Antioco's compensation. Econ used it as leverage. The board sided with him. John Antioco, the guy who'd actually figured out how to beat Netflix, who was executing a winning strategy, got pushed out. Think about that for a second. The man who could have killed Netflix got fired for trying. They brought in a new CEO, Jim Keyes, former 7-Eleven executive. Keyes walked in, looked at the online operation, and immediately started reversing everything Antioco built. He scaled back total access, slashed the online budget, refocused on physical retail, the part that was obviously dying, and the kicker, he brought back late fees. Right when Netflix was vulnerable, when Blockbuster had them scared, they just stopped, put down the weapon, walked away to argue about quarterly earnings while their enemy regrouped. It collapsed fast after that. 2008, financial crisis hits. Blockbuster's drowning in debt, nobody will refinance. September 2010, bankruptcy filing. 2011, Dish Network buys what's left, around 1,700 stores. November 2013, Dish closes the last 300 locations. 2,800 people lose jobs right before the holidays. By 2014, it was over. Years later, Carl Icahn actually admitted he screwed up. In an interview, he said, direct quote, "I was wrong." He acknowledged total access might have worked. That Blockbuster might have actually pulled it off? Might have. After he was the one who killed it, Antioco not buying Netflix for $50 million in 2000, that was a mistake. Expensive one. But that's not what killed Blockbuster. What killed Blockbuster was 2007. Having a winning strategy, being ahead, then abandoning it because one guy wanted better numbers for next quarter's earnings call. Want to know how that Netflix bet would have played out? That company they could have had for $50 million? Market cap today, over $400 billion. 8,000 times what they were asking. Blockbuster at peak. 4,300 employees serving millions worldwide. Netflix today. Around 13,000 employees running the biggest streaming platform on earth. Fewer people. Bigger empire. There's one Blockbuster left on the planet. One. Bend, Oregon. These days they mostly sell merchandise. T-shirts with the old logo, keychains, replica membership cards. They get their movies from Walmart and Target now. People fly in from everywhere to see it, take selfies out front, post them online. I went to the last Blockbuster. It's basically a museum now. Nostalgia exhibit, punchline, but the smell's still there. Walk in and it hits you. Plastic cases, old carpet, that faint microwave popcorn scent. Not good, not bad, just familiar. So, should Blockbuster have bought Netflix in 2000? Obviously. Probably the dumbest pass in business history. But that's not the question that sticks with me. The real question is, how do you get back in a fight you were losing, start winning, then just give up? Short-term thinking. That's how. Quarterly obsession. One guy at the top wanting his payout now, not caring what happens in 5 years. Makes you wonder who's doing the same thing right now. What company is winning a war they're about to quit without realizing it? Tesla pulling back on their charging network right when they've got everyone locked in? Disney slashing streaming